Who's too high, who's too low, and who is just right in Pete's power rankings? Let's get to the top 10.
Hey, I'm going to start doing that every week. Here we go. Every time you guys start picking them to shreds.
Well, we'll discuss one of those teams that says,
I saw your hit yesterday, dude.
You did, yeah.
Number one, Kansas City Chiefs. I wouldn't argue with that. They're the number one team in the NFL.
They just picked up Uche.
Getting Josh Uche, which we'll talk about here in the second massive trade, in my opinion. Detroit Lions, number 2. Buffalo Bills, number 3. Green Bay Packers at 4. Houston Texans at 5. Commanders 6. Ravens 7. Steelers 8. Vikings all the way down to 9 now. And the Philadelphia Eagles round out your top 10. No Falcons, no 49ers. Just on the outside looking in, bottom 5. We got Patriots at 28, Raiders at 29, Dolphins at 30, Titans at 31, and then the Panthers at 32. Not a lot changing in that bottom 5 anytime soon, although the Dolphins could raise with Tua back. I do think that Uche trade, though, I mean, Chiefs are number 1. They're not like the undisputed number 1.
They just got better.
But they did just get better with the Uche trade. I can't believe he was as lightly coveted as he was this past offseason with, he's basically like a Yannick Ngakoue type. You're not going to play him on first and second down. But third down
makes his hay.
And by the way,
he's good.
They need help with their pass rush.
Yeah.
It hasn't been as good as they thought it would be.
Anudike Uzomah has not been what they wanted out of the first rounder last year.
But when they made the deal, I did a hit yesterday. I said, can he play left tackle? I mean, that's the trade they need to make.
That's where they are losing right now.
I've heard Cam Robinson there, too.
They need to trade for Cam Robinson. But, okay, Cam Robinson was a healthy scratch last week. I'm not a healthy scratch, but he didn't start.
A protected backup.
Well, you know what he did? He still knows. He didn't rap, supposedly. I've heard this secondhand. Didn't tape. Stood when the offensive line came off the field. He was on the other side. That's never.
He's not part of that team anymore.
So go make the deal for Cam Robinson. And then you would have Juwan Taylor and Cam Robinson reunited together as your tackles. And by the way, Juwan Taylor
Chargers in the playoffs.
Juwan Taylor stinks too.
Yeah. Yes, he's not living up to the money they paid him whatsoever.
I would say Juwan Taylor's issues loom in pre-snap penalties more so than
he's still not
his
good
play. His play is good. His play is serviceable enough to go win football games. But what you can't afford is to shoot yourself in the foot with the pre-snap.
I think everybody points to Mahomes and his numbers are down. Everything. The reason his numbers are down is pretty much the same reason his numbers were down last year. Those tackles don't hold up. And
especially left tackle.
And he sped up.
He just feels it on his blind side all the time.
It's been a letdown this year.
He's just playing like he can't get to what he wants, that deep route, that third read. He can't get to it.
That's why the field,
even when the pocket is there, he doesn't play like he can get to it.
No,
so that's
they got to get tackled.
The only saving grace is that their left guard, who's playing next to the left tackle, revolving door that they've got, is Joe Thuney, and he's one of the best in the National Football League.
The inside three are all great.
Yeah.
And even when Orlando Brown came there, Orlando Brown Jr. was a really good player, but he didn't match the output of those inside three. And I would say this, that it's all about the pairing that you have at guard and tackle. It's not necessarily just about the tackle because those two guys work in unison. Tooney's one of the best in the league. So if you bring a guy like Cam Robinson in, it's an immediate upgrade, and not just an upgrade, like an exponential upgrade.
See, Cam Robinson is good and pretty good in pass protection. He's not great in the run game. But if you're the Chiefs, you need pass protection. Yeah. That's what you need. Because he's one of those guys that doesn't finish his blocks either in the run game.
Well, they scheme up things better than anybody in the run game as well. So they'll put Cam Robinson in position to have success.
Who's too high, who's too low, and who is just right? Our Goldilocks segment on Pete's Power Rankings. Kyle, let's kick it off. Who's too high?
Can we pull the rankings up here? I've got my stuff in front of me here. I've got my answers, but I want to make sure that I can take a look at this. So too high on this list for me is the Washington Commanders. They're above the Ravens. It just doesn't feel right to me.
At number 6.
The defense has gotten better.
A lot better.
And the offense now looks like one of the best in the league. I'm sorry, too high. I was reading my too low. Yes, they beat the Bears in primetime in the same week that the Ravens fumbled the bag versus the Cleveland Browns, which should have been a Baltimore Ravens win. But it just doesn't feel right to me. The best offense in the league is still the Baltimore Ravens, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I know they just won, but they're both like 5-3 for all intents and purposes. The Commanders and the Ravens. They took a Hail Mary for the Commanders to win.
They dominated that game. They should have put that game away in the third quarter. That game should have been done. It should have been over.
So
took a Hail Mary. I just feel like the Ravens are a better football team.
They're not very good on defense right now.
The wild thing is the Commanders are playing better on defense somehow than the Ravens.
The Ravens aren't good on defense.
They are. The Commanders have played up all year. They've got a shot in the arm with this quarterback. Kingsbury and Jaden have been awesome, and it leads their defense to play inspired football. You saw it against the Bears. Obviously, they take this thing personally. They have attached themselves to Jaden Daniels. But I got to say, at the end of the day, the MVP is Lamar Jackson. The best running back in the National Football League is Derrick Henry. I think if these two teams play at the end of the year, the Ravens will beat them. I think if they played today,
it might be a shootout, 40-40.
And it could be,
right?
But I trust the Ravens more than the Commanders in this situation. That's why I've got the Commanders too high. They're above Baltimore. It just doesn't feel right to me.
Okay. I just hate that. I don't like what I see from the Baltimore defense at all.
Nor have I. It's been disgusting.
Yeah.
I love that offense.
Yeah, offense is great.
Injuries at corner. Yeah, maybe those will, who knows how long Wiggins, Humphrey, like if they are out for extended periods, whatever, then they are screwed. But when they're back, I do think it's a distinctly.
But even when they were in there,
position.
they weren't stopping.
No, not great.
But they shut down the Bills.
Right, but
they have the ability to play good defense. I think
like Tampa moved all over when they played them too.
Yeah. My team that's ranked too high, and it's not a team that's particularly high, but I just think they stink right now. Dallas Cowboys at number 20.
Yeah, I'm not big. They are bad.
They do stink.
But which one of those teams behind them?
I think all three of the teams behind them.
Joe Flacco.
I think the Colts, Jets, and Browns I would take right now. Even the Bengals against the Cowboys right now I would take.
I wouldn't take any of those. I mean, they're all the same. It's all garbage right now.
They're just their defense. So they have the deadly combo of not being able to run the football and not being able to stop the run. The old school football, they are failing that test. So
that's the toughness test in Jared Mayo's book.
And that's
not
Mike
Jared.
McCarthy's.
I keep saying Jared. It's Gerard.
Mike McCarthy's basically MO.
Look at Jared.
Is when things are going tough, when it's, when they're kind of struggling, the run game just takes this huge backseat to trying to drop back pass 50 times a game. And that's fine when you have Aaron Rodgers in his prime. I don't think Dak Prescott is to that level, and you see it with the multiple pixie throws pretty much every single week.
Oh, I would agree with you. I don't think the Cowboys are. But I don't think any of those teams are any good. You got a quarterback on the Colts who's under 50% completion percentage. You have, the Bengals just got destroyed on defense the other day by the Eagles. They're not very good right now. So all those teams are kind of lumped in together. If you want to pick, I'm okay with you if you want to put one of those ahead of them, but because I think they're all pretty bad.
It's funny because when a team isn't doing well statistically or record wise, most teams in the league, it's like an any given Sunday type league where the Bengals get beat by 40 points last week. They could beat a team by 40 next week. We wouldn't be surprised. This Cowboys team, I have no faith in them to be able to wake up and beat a team next week by more than two possessions.
Atlanta this week, so we'll see. If they don't,
ain't gonna happen.
They're in trouble.
Ain't gonna happen.